But as a channel, CNN shouldn't have a position on whether you should take medicine or not, because it's a news channel. It's not a health agency. And yet yesterday, the bureau chief in Washington at CNN sent an internal email with this subject line: a majority of unvaccinated Americans say they're unlikely to get the COVID-19 vaccine. So in response to that, the bureau chief wrote this to a colleague, quote, "This is the point about carrot versus stick. The carrot is no longer going to work, ... Now, we know about this because the person who sent it accidentally added someone else to that email, Charlie Kirk. We reached out to CNN about all of this, and here's what they said. The email mistakenly sent to Kirk was simply acknowledging that current vaccination rates are losing steam. And then the spokesman went on to blame this show for Americans who don't want to take this particular medicine, and suggesting it's CNN's job to force them to. But is it CNN's job? Charlie Kirk is the founder of Turning Point USA. He joins us tonight. Charlie, thanks so much for coming on. What does this reveal, do you think, about that news channel?
Well, I think this is one of the few mistakes that CNN has made that's actually really helpful. Is it CNN's stated position now that they're going to try to administer medicine under the threat of punishment? You know, the analogy carrot versus stick is used usually when talking about incentives. What is the best way to compel human beings to get to a desired objective? And is it CNN's position now that if someone decides to refuse to get the vaccine like I have, that I'm going to come under some sort of punishment? What does that mean? What does the stick look like in CNN's world? Are they reporting on the news, or are they trying to subsidize or incentivize human beings towards a certain outcome? Are they trying to go after stories that are actually going to hold powerful people accountable? And Tucker, I think this is an interesting question. How would that internal email read any differently if it wasn't sent by an executive from Moderna or Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson or AstraZeneca? Right. Is there any difference at all? If you just said, hey, who do you think sent this email? Someone from the CNN Washington bureau chief or an executive of a pharmaceutical company? Those are things worth asking.
But why is a news channel doing this? Any news channel, a lot of them are. I mean, CNN's in-house doctor ran Planned Parenthood. She's not in the life-saving business. These are not physicians. These are not experts. And yet they're speaking with this moral authority. You must do this because we know, and of course they don't know. And questions that anyone else raises, including on this show, they shout down immediately with slurs. Like, when did this become their role to do stuff like this?
That's exactly right. And the other question is, why all of a sudden in the last 48 hours has there been this almost coordinated effort of people on the establishment center right kind of virtue signaling and telling every single person to get vaccinated, while we're starting to see this kind of disturbing increase of activity on the VAERS database? And we're seeing story after story, not to mention what Dr. Robert Malone has said on your program and Dr. Brett Weinstein. And so I think what we have here is mission creep of certain institutions that think they're supposed to do things that they really aren't. And Tucker, I'm glad I received this email because we got an inside look into what CNN's trying to do in this regard to public health, and it's very disturbing.
Yeah, it is disturbing. Coordination, yeah, I'm suspecting maybe you're right in your hunch there, Charlie Kirk. Great to see you tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you.